Welcome to Advent of Tessellations 2023. I'm Madonna Yoder, and I hope you will join hundreds of origami folders around the world in folding this daily challenge to increase your origami tessellation folding skills, so the twists and repeating patterns folded all from a single sheet of paper. Welcome back to Advent of Tess. This is day 14. So we're going to be doing basically the opposite choices of yesterday. So instead of a closed hexagon, a open hexagon. We are still going to have open triangles on the back, and our rhombus is still going to be on the front, but it's going to be a closed rhombus instead of open. Give you a little break from the open rhombus for a day. And so we're going to have these interesting structures, and we're going to use a new technique on the triangles. So keep an eye out for what that technique is as we start folding. So we're going to put in our open hexagon twist, same as we have been, with our mountain folds hitting the right hand side one space above the corner of the hexagon, putting these in one by one. And then on the final two, it's easiest to emphasize both mountains before putting in the fifth and sixth valley, valleys plural. And then we're going to press down to squash, and then use the bone folder to firmly press our open hexagon twist. All right, so from here, we're going to flip to the back side and start putting in our open triangle twists. And we're going to be doing these at the densest possible spacing. Now, like I said a couple of videos ago, if you're having trouble with the spacing, try doing it on a 24 fold grid instead, with an extra space between each pair of twists. Now you only have to worry about that for the hexagon and the triangles. The rhombi will take care of themselves. And the densest spacing here means that we have our valleys along the folded mountain on the layer below, and our mountains one spacing further out, with our target triangle sitting above that mountain. So as we bring this open triangle into being and let that third pleat come into existence, you'll notice that this is making a tube pleat going around, and a single depth pleat or single width spacing between the two valley folds going out. And we can go ahead and squash this triangle. And now we're going to rotate and repeat. I rotated from here so that I'm heading in a clockwise direction. My rotation is counterclockwise to let me do the same work in the same orientation. Now for the next one, I'm going to have that valley along the folded mountain, the mountain one spacing further, target triangle one spacing further than that. Just like with yesterday's piece, I can unlock that pleat from under the existing triangle. And now when I go to fold that, I run into a problem. See, I don't want to fold straight through this existing open triangle, but what can I do about it? Well, there is something I can do about it. At the tip of this open triangle that's already been folded, I can split my mountain into a three-way intersection. So instead of my mountain continuing out on this grid line, it's going to split And then just below, one grid spacing below, it's going to split again. So now I have a mountain going straight out to the corner, and I'm getting this zigzag just like I would have in the Muraori corrugation. And I'll make sure to put a link to that in the description for anyone who doesn't know that quite famous corrugation. So this is a move that I've been calling a compound wrap. It's a very versatile move, and it shows up again and again in these densely spaced twist-based tessellations. So rotating to the next repeat, I'm going to set up my triangle, and I'm going to show again what's going on with this compound wrap. This is the new move for the day. So my mountain from the new triangle is coming and hitting one spacing before the corner of my open triangle twist. So I am going to basically take this point along the valley fold and pop it out to be a three-way intersection of mountains. And so I have this mountain fold that's going into a three-way intersection of valleys in there. This corner of the triangle twist is functioning like a three-way intersection of mountains. The third mountain is just the projection of the mountain into the twist. Then we have the other two. Then I have a three-way intersection of mountains here and a three-way intersection of valleys down below. So it's like we're doing two triangle wraps, which is why I call it a compound wrap. And one thing I will say, if you are doing everything spaced one spacing further out on a 24-fold grid, you will avoid this maneuver completely because the pleat going through here will hit at the corner of the triangle twist. And you won't need to do anything extra to get that into place. So continuing around, I'm going to set up my triangles and the compound wrap that they need with their neighbors. And then when I get to the final triangle, I'm going to need to do something on both sides, just like I've had to do something on both sides every time I get to the sixth triangle, or rhombus, or whatever other shape we're using. And from here, it's a little bit hard to see where my mountain and valley fold need to go. So I can reference all of the other corners here and say, okay, the corner of my, I'm going to draw on the grid lines that I can see here. The corner of my triangle twist is at a corner of this central hexagon of grid lines. So for all 5 of these, that is true. So it must be true for this one as well. Therefore, my valley has to come from that corner. My mountain will be one spacing further, which puts my target triangle just past that. Now what I'm going to do as I set this up, I'm going to let that valley go one spacing past, actually no, I'm going to let that valley go just to the existing mountain. The mountain is going to drop down, but what I'm going to do with the valley, that valley is going to zigzag and connect with the existing valley. It's going to zigzag there, and it's going to zigzag out so that the mountains above it can do that same zigzag. So this is the Muraori coming into play again. We've got these zigzags happening in both the mountain and the valley, and they're connected alternately by mountain and valley folds. So that's exactly what's going to happen here. And with that set up, I need to have the third direction of my open triangle twist on top. Notice how this is all collapsing down now. And we're going to need to do that zigzag wrap, the compound wrap that we've been doing on the upper side of this new triangle twist. So with that all in place, I can squash, and for this one I'm really focusing on pushing down on the corners of the target grid triangle and then gradually getting everything flatter and flatter until I can flatten all the way. So that's the compound wrap, the new skill for the day. And we're going to flip over back to the hexagon side and see how this is actually really convenient for folding the next rhombus. From here, I actually have all 4 of the mountain folds that I need for the closed rhombus twist. I just need to take this mountain that's going down into a hole, pop it up, and then lay these outer mountains over on the correct valleys. And bingo, there's my closed rhombus twist. So again, I'm going to rotate to the next one. My mountains, so mountain 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all in the right locations already. If I see that one of my mountains has come off of a grid line, that's because my triangle wasn't quite squashed properly, and I can use my bone folder to go in there and see if I can make it better. But that's also a high probability of poking a hole in your paper, so do exercise caution. So all my mountains are in the right place. I just need to reach from behind and pop the mountain that was going down into valleys up to the top and squash my new rhombus once my outer mountains are laid down on the correct valleys. So once again, I'm going to pop. I'm making sure I'm not moving that corner of the triangle, I'm just popping that particular grid intersection. Then I'm setting up the valleys on the correct sides of my outer mountains and squashing. And once again, so we're popping up the continuation of the through line that was down in the valley. We are not popping the corner of the triangle. So yeah, after a couple years of teaching origami tessellations, I've got the spidey sense where I can tell what problems are coming up. So again, looking at it here, I'm popping this corner, not that corner. So pop, keep the mountains, set the outer 2 on the rotationally appropriate valleys, and squash. Rotate and repeat, and squash. So that is a really convenient way to set up a rhombus twist on the other side when you don't have the flexibility or the space to squash said rhombus twist right away. You can set it up using the compound wrap and then continue and squash it when you do have a stable place to squash on. So happy folding, everyone. And we're going to have the same start tomorrow, the central hexagon and the triangles, but we're going to finish it with a bigger rhombus. So happy folding, everyone, and I will see you in the next video.